It's season 8 of the European Poker Tour. We're in Barcelona. It's day 3 and the money bubble is fast approaching. US pro Vanessa Selbst is in blistering form.
I've won the NAPT Mohegan Sun in 2010 and 2011.
Becoming the first ever two-time North American Poker Tour champion is an unprecedented achievement.
Hopefully I can become the first two-time EPT champion as well, although I guess I have to win my first one.
This one-woman wrecking crew is now hell-bent on European domination.
Come on.
The Barcelona leg of the European Poker Tour never fails to make history. And yet again, the tournament supplied us with a record-breaking field. 811 players made this the biggest live poker event ever held on Spanish soil. Could this be the first time we crown a Spanish winner?
I think this may be the occasion where we get the first Spanish champion.
Each hopeful bought in for €5,000, generating a massive prize pool of over €4 million and a life-changing first prize of €850,000. So, day 3 of EPT Barcelona and the money bubble are now in sight. 141 players remain, but only 120 will get paid. That means 21 people will leave this tournament with nothing but disappointment. Vanessa Selbst is hoping for a big score. The two-time NAPT champion is one of the 10 biggest stacks in the room, and she's on the feature table, along with Ivan Demidov. It's still a die time for the Russian pro. He's dangerously short-stacked.
I'll have to play aggressive, I'll have to risk it.
Unfortunately for Ivan, he has the unstoppable Vanessa Selbst to his left. She knows how to apply maximum pressure to her European counterparts.
Every great poker player is able to adapt to their circumstances. I'm always on the prowl for the win, and I would love to get it here.
Standing in her way is Vadim Kurcevic. She's no stranger to a deep run on the European Poker Tour.
It was my second EPT main event, the EPT Berlin. I finished third. For me it was a great result. I think to win the EPT title, it's for every poker player. It's something big.
Out in the field, tennis ace Boris Becker is having his deepest EPT run to date.
I'm still around on day 3 now, and hopefully another couple guys go up, and I'm in the money.
Also on his table is the colourful Mario Adinolfi. He's riding his luck as he aims to make his second ever EPT cash.
It's not me, it's the book.
Well, it's time to see who the poker gods will shine on brightly as we race towards the money. And let's introduce the 7 players at our feature table.
Two-time NAPT champion Vanessa Selbst is at our feature table. All you need to know about her is that Vanessa is aggressive. To her right is the severely short stack Ivan Demidov. Plus we have Vadim Kurcevic, who finished 3rd in Berlin last season.
Another name of note is Ronald Lee. He's sitting in the 1 seat. This young American finished 3rd in the 2010 World Series of Poker Europe main event. And we've got 2 Spanish players at our feature table, Juan Azon and Heikel Vidal.
Now, as we mentioned, not only is Ivan Demidov short, but he's got Vanessa Selbst on his left. Vanessa's so aggressive, I don't even want her on my left at the dinner table. Seriously, she steals all the ante. Past.
Oh, the bad jokes have started. The poker's started. The blinds are 2,000, 4,000 with a 400 ante. It's Dobromir Nikov who gets us started with a raise under the gun to 8,000. He's got 9s. Pocket 10s for Juan Azon.
Azon seems to like his hand.
He elects to flat. Vidal will fold. Ronald Lee has pocket 4s in the cutoff. He'll come along.
Totally standard call.
Vadim Kurcevic looks down at ace-jack on the button.
I don't see him folding, and as it stands, there are probably too many players in this hand for Kurcevic's liking.
The smallest chips in play right now are the blacks that Kurcevic is riffling. Those are worth 100. The purples are 500, the reds are 1,000, and the yellows that he's counting out are worth 5,000 each. I think we're going to see a 3-bet here. Yep, he re-raises to 36,500. And look at this, Demidov has ace-queen.
There are a lot of legitimate hands out there. Demidov's awfully short to fold or call with this.
Well, he almost moves all in. He's left himself 400.
Gotta tell you, I love that play, leaving 400 behind.
Initial raiser, Nikov has folded. Decisions on Azon with his pair of 10s. He decides to muck. Ronald Lee gives up the 4s. Kurzovic is priced in.
Way too much in there to fold.
And he'll make sure that Ivan Demidov is properly committed. There we go, the last 400 go in, the cards go on their backs, and Demidov is in a great position here to more than double up.
The two Russians at the table have managed to find each other and lock horns. Kurzovic is drawing to basically 3 outs.
Demidov, best known for his second place finish at the 08 World Series, yet to have a big result here on the European Poker Tour. That's a good flop for him. Kurzovic needs to hit a jack on the turn or river to eliminate Ivan Demidov.
He can also hit running spades or straight cards.
10 of spades.
Calling for the 10 of spades on the turn, but it's the deuce of clubs.
Not exactly.
Still a good card.
It's like the opposite.
Still a good
What?
card
Oh yeah,
for
that's
him.
true, that's true.
No more runner. Now if Ivan can avoid a jack, he'll double up.
He can't.
That's a better card for him.
Gross.
Kurzovic hits a 3-outer on the river, sending his fellow countrymen to the rail.
Well, the good news for Kurzovic, you won a big pot. The bad news, you now have Vanessa Selbst on your immediate left.
At least he's well above average in chips. Let's head out into the field. There's an all-in on one of our outer tables. It's Boris Becker. He's shoved for his last 39,800. Decision is on Mario Adinolfi.
39-8. 39-8.
We know Adinolfi likes to fold less than a disgruntled maid. And yes, that is a picture of the Pope, and no, I have no idea either.
He makes the call. Boris has got aces. Mario with 9s.
Well, hopefully Mario brought the Pope mobile with him because he's going to need something bulletproof.
Spades.
3-5 queen or spades. Neither player has a spade.
Looking real good for B-backs.
Queen on the turn. Only a 9 sends him out, and it's a queen on the river.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Rub it back.
Boris on course for his first ever EPT cash. Who else is set to make the money? Well, Jan Scamper is the last former EPT champion left in the field. There's Cohen Davisha, who was last year's bubble boy. That's an achievement he doesn't want to repeat. Martin Jakobsen had 2 second-place finishes on the EPT last season. Player who's having a phenomenal 2011 is Eugene Kachalov. His great run began with that victory at the PCA in the Super High Roller event. Action here between Tobias Reinkemeyer and Tomeo Gamilla.
Instafold.
Gamilla, the poker gorilla, they call him. Well, I call him that, and I think it's going to catch on.
Yeah, no one calls him that.
Well, that pot sees Tomeo Gamilla become one of the biggest stacks in the room. He's 8th in chips overall. Frenchman Xavier Carucci currently has the tournament chip lead. Interesting to see that Mario Adinolfi's still up there.
Adinolfi was day 2 chip leader, and it's not terribly surprising he slipped a bit as he can be a tad spewy. Speaking of, if you're going to spew into this, it looks like Adinolfi's just called off 30 big blinds with ace-9.
He does actually have the best hand, and he has Chris Moorman at risk.
Ace in the door.
Moorman's heading to the exit. He needs runner now. No help on the turn, he's drawing dead. Adinolfi knocks out a player.
It's the Pope, it's not me, it's the Pope. Ace, first card.
Mario loves a politics, a poker, and the Popa.
He's had one big result on the EPT when he came 22nd in Berlin last season for 20,000 euros. Back in his home country, he's a very well-known and well-respected political journalist.
I wrote some articles in which I said that poker should be taught in class because it's very, very useful for education.
Vanessa Selbst teaches poker. She only charges $10,000 for the weekend.
That's not even counting what you'd lose to her.
Action's been folded here to Vadim Kurzovic. The Russian has Jack 10 of diamonds. He's in early position. It's a min plus raise to 8,500. Ace-King for Vanessa Selbst.
Vanessa's the table boss, and she's got ace-king. Get ready for her to start betting people's faces off.
She She reaches for chips, and she calls.
Well, Vanessa is a super aggressive player, but if she thinks she's got him really smashed, she may not want him to be able to get away from this pre-flop.
Both the blinds fold, so heads up to the flop. Vanessa has the best hand, and she has position. The flop is ace, jack, 4, second pair for Kurzovic, top pair for Vanessa.
Pretty interesting flop. Kurzovic might like his hand against a loose player like Vanessa, but he certainly doesn't want this pot getting out of control.
Neither player overly happy with the fact the flop is all hearts. Vanessa makes it 12,500 after Kurzovic checks to her.
Even though we know he's losing, I think Vanessa's way too laggy to fold for just one bet here. Google it.
He does make the call. The turn card is another heart.
Kurzovic with even less reason to want this pot to get any bigger.
He checks. And Vanessa checks behind. The river gives Kurzovic trip jacks.
Holy moly, what an interesting card.
Kurzovic checks.
Vanessa's not really one to check in these spots. If she makes a bet here, she'll think she's value betting when she's really bluffing.
Into a pot of 50,000. She bets 17,000.
I think this would typically be a great value bet. Vanessa just got pretty unlucky that Kurzovic has a jack and not a smaller ace. Still, he could fold outright.
He calls.
I have a heart.
Huh?
No flush.
I have a jack.
Yo, you have a jack. It's good.
The pot gets shipped to Kurzovic. The great start to the day for him. His stacks increased by more than 50%.
We got the suck out by Kurzovic. Will we now get the curse out by Stapleton? Please? Just one bleep is all I'm asking for. Come on! No luck.
We're 7 players away from the money, but only one can be crowned champion and collect that first prize of 850,000 euros. If you want to play in an EPT event, go to pokerstars.com, where there are qualifiers every day. Welcome back to the pokerstars.com EPT Barcelona. Day 3 is well underway, and we're just 3 players away from the money. For some, it's all about outlasting the bubble boy, while others only have eyes on the top prize. And for one player, this time, it's personal.
Last year, unfortunately, I was a bubble boy. So just one place before the money, I busted with queens against aces. The moment I bubbled, of course, I'm a bit frustrated and disappointed. It's better to go out in the first hand than on the bubble, because once you're going deep and then you end up with nothing at all. But in the end, it's just part of the game. The next one I played was Snowfest, and there I reached the final table and finished in 3rd place. I was happy and disappointed at the same time, because you're so close to winning, but I think I made the most of it. If I would be the bubble boy again this year, I think it would be pretty funny actually. Like, it's just too ridiculous to happen, but I expect to go pretty deep this year because I have a good stack, so I'm feeling pretty confident now.
Gotta wonder how tight Cohen's range will be on the bubble this year. Think he mucks queens this time?
Well, he says he's got a healthy stack. At our feature table, it's Vadim Kurzovic who has the chip lead. We've been joined by a new player, Juan Corneo. He's going to fold from early position. 8-9 of diamonds for Heikel Vidal. He mucks. Ronald Lee gets out of the way. Here is Kurzovic with ace-jack. Blind still 2,000, 4,000. He's going to raise from the cutoff to 8,500. Ace-queen of diamonds for Vanessa Selbst on the button.
So you've got players like Cohen who are likely holding on for dear life right now, and then you've got players like Vanessa who use that to their advantage to steal as many chips as they can on the bubble, although this is a legitimate hand. We could very easily see a 3-bet.
There is the 3-bet. She re-raises to 22,500. Both blinds fold. It's back on Kurzovic.
Vanessa knows her bubble rep is very aggressive, so she can easily get action from Kurzovic with a pretty wide range. Kurcevic is dominated, but it's going to be pretty tough for him to know that against a player like Vanessa.
4-bet coming. He's made it 59,500. Vanessa's playing 288 behind.
My guess is that this is exactly what Vanessa wanted. Though she does seem to be hesitating. I expected an immediate all-in, though she could easily just call here in position.
This is a clash of two of the biggest stacks at the table.
I'm away.
There it is, the 5-bet jam.
Vanessa's hoping at this point. Kurcevic has been playing her reputation and doesn't have a monster. Kurcevic is dominated, but Vanessa is so capable of doing this with worse. That's what makes spots like this so tough. Have to wonder if he's regretting the 4-bet now. Tough to get a read on old Selbsty.
And remember, we are so close to the bubble, he decides to let it go.
Pretty good laydown. Very tough to back down from a player who shoves light more often than an anorexic sumo wrestler.
Vanessa wins the pot and takes the table chip lead from Vadim Kurcevic.
He's going to go to bed thinking about Vanessa Selbst tonight, just like I do every night.
If we look at how they stack up in the tournament overall, both players are still in the top 10. But the man who's sitting at the top of the tree is France's Xavier Carugi. He's playing 630,000. Currently 7th in chips is Victor Ramdin, heading towards his 6th EPT cash. And we're now only 2 away from making the money, because Guy Goosen has just been eliminated from the tournament in 123rd place.
A disappointing near cash for that Guy. Though I hear he's a very nice Guy. But if you think he's the bubble boy, you've got the wrong Guy.
Let's head back to the feature table, where a new player has taken the 3 seat. It's Spanish pro and commentator Juan Manuel Pastor.
JMP, love JMP. Handsome for a man.
And he already has 6 EPT cashes.
The bubble is 1 less or 2?
I thought they go hand for hand at 122.
No, it's 121 hand for hand.
Still have to lose one more player before we're hand for hand.
Thank you for clarifying.
No probs.
Lee and Kurcevic in the blinds. Juan Manuel Pastor, first to speak.
What's it gonna be, JMP?
5-3 of diamonds. He's playing a super short stack. He'll let it go. Vanessa Selbst folds. Dobromir Nikov raising it up with his 8-10. A min raise.
Pretty loose open for Nikov.
Action folded around to Ronald Lee. Ace Queen in the small blind. He makes the call. Kurcevic with 9-5 of space defends his big blind.
Bit of a loose defend from Kurcevic.
The flop, Jack 9-3. Up and down straight draw for Nikov. Kurcevic pairs his 9.
Kind of a dream flop for Nikov. I would expect to see a C-bet.
Lee and Kurcevic have checked to him. He is going to make a continuation bet of 14,500. Ronald Lee with 2 overs to the board, gives it up.
Kurcevic called with 9-5. And most players would stick around once hitting a pair. Looks like he's going to stick around as well.
He makes the call. Again, a clash of the big stacks at the feature table. 2 of clubs on the turn changes nothing. Kurcevic checks again.
Looks like he's playing a little pot control. Will Nikov fire the second barrel?
Oh yes. 28,500.
This board isn't super wet, so it's not like there are a lot of hands Nikov could be semi-bluffing with, even though he is semi-bluffing. Kurcevic does have the best hand.
And he calls a second time. Well, the pot is now over 100,000. And there's another deuce on the river, so Nikov's draw doesn't get there.
Kurcevic's 9 still good.
He raised pre, he bet the flop, he bet the turn.
Here comes the third barrel with 10 high.
Will Kurcevic think he's up against a jack? 88,000.
Nothing has really changed about this board from the flop. If his 9 was good then, it's very likely to be winning now, but Nikov was a fairly early position raiser, and he's really kept the pressure on. Unfortunately for Nikov, every draw missed, and Kurcevic knows that.
Kurcevic has counted out the chips for the call. And he makes the call. He does not give Nikov credit for the jack.
Nice, real nice.
And the Russian will add nearly 150k to his stack.
Well, when you're calling raises with 9-5, it's no wonder your VPIP is more than twice the table average.
And the Russian has now reclaimed the table chip lead. Well, we've reached that exciting moment in the poker tournament where the money is in sight, because we've just lost Claudio Pachechi in 122nd place.
Okay, attention players, dealers and players. 121 players remaining. We are on the bubble. Dealers, deal one more hand, please. Only one hand. Thank you.
Tournament director Toby Stone informing the room they're now dealing hand for hand. So who's clinging on in the danger zone? Boris Becker, Tobias Reinkemeyer and Benny Spindler among the players nursing short stacks. And Manuel Pastores on our feature table has just 6 big blinds.
Hang in there, JMP. We are hand for hand, James, which means the next person who goes out will be going home with nothing but an alliterative title and a better than average bad beat story.
Blinds are up to 2,500 and 5,000. We've seen a late position raise from Vanessa Selps with ace-jack, called by Dobromir Nikov with ace-queen.
I think most of the time 3-betting Vanessa Selps in that spot is an absolute no-brainer, because I think she'd get it in with worse than ace-queen, a la her ace-jack right here. But on the bubble, people play a bit more cautiously.
Jack in the window. A king-8-jack flop sees Vanessa take the lead. Nikov with a gut shot to the nuts.
Vanessa's got Nikov reverse dominated. There's the C-bet. A lot of the time she'll have the best hand with ace-jack, which she does.
Made it 13,000. And Nikov is going to raise to 34,000. What's he repping here?
This is sort of a semi-bluff raise from Nikov, but I'm sure there's a part of him that thinks he's going to have the best hand a lot of the time, too. In order to make a call like this, Vanessa basically has to put him on the exact kind of hand he's got.
She does make the call.
Scary just how good at poker Vanessa Selps is.
5 of spades on the turn changes nothing. Vanessa checks.
She flatted the raise on the flop. Will Nikov fire again? And better question, how come no matter where Vanessa's sitting, it still seems like she has position?
Nikov checks behind. 6 of clubs on the river.
Well, Vanessa does not actually have position, so she'll be first to act here. With the way Nikov's played it, she should feel pretty confident to value bet.
Got to be thinking if Nikov had a king, he would just call the flop rather than raise. And with her pair of jacks and an ace kicker, she bets 38,000.
Okay, so this is what Vanessa does. She plays super aggro, so she gets looked up by ace high exactly in spots like this. But I think she's rarely bluffing with this line, so I think Nikov should be able to get away from this.
He doesn't. He calls and pays her off.
Boy, she is good. Making a call like that and being wrong is damaging to the stack and the psyche. Also, it kind of makes parts of your body tuck up inside itself.
Vanessa's sitting on more than $500,000, more than double the tournament average.
Venga, hombre, que gane. Hay dos, son niños, ¿vale? Creo que hay dos.
Looks like we've got an all-in on the floor.
Two tables.
2 all-ins on the floor.
In 2 tables. Find out.
We're going to find out. We have the technology. Well, it looks like Roger Tondura is going to survive here unless Manuel Chico spikes a king or a 7 on the river. Tondura straight has the lead. And the river?
You need a king, dude.
It's a 9. So Tondura doubles up and we do not lose a player.
Short stack at 6-4.
Well, the second all-in involves Jeffrey Hakim. He's shoved with ace-jack, and Raul Adinolfi, who has no fold button, called with 8-4 offsuit.
Adinolfi somehow got in about 15 big blinds with 8-4.
Hakim with the best hand. Adinolfi does have live cards. Hakim needs the ace-jack to hold. And there is an 8 on the flop.
8 with an 8 for the Italian stallion. No club redraw for Hakim either.
He needs an ace or a jack on the river, or He goes out on the bubble, and every other player is guaranteed at least a min cash. It's a save.
8-4 holds up for once.
So Jimmy Hughes, 121st place finisher. Congratulations to Boris Becker, co-division last year's bubble boy, and to Juan Pastor. All those short stacks have clung on. JMP gets his 7th EPT cash.
Jeffrey Hakeem may have been the bubble boy, but he's taking it like a bubble man.
Welcome back to the PokerStars.com European Poker Tour from Barcelona. Before the break, Jeffrey Hakeem shoved his 14 big blind stack with ace-jack. The Italian wildcard Mario Adinolfi made an ambitious call with 8-4 off, only to hit his 8 on the flop. That left Hakeem chasing overcards that never came. And with his exit, the bubbles burst and we're in the money. Picking up his first ever EPT cash is 6-time Grand Slam winner Boris Becker.
Very excited. I squeezed in, too bad the guy next to me had to bust, but somebody had to do it.
What followed was a short stack shoving frenzy, which saw us lose 7 players in as many minutes. And as we rejoin the action on the floor, we find EPT regular and former high roller champion Tobias Reinkemeyer flipping for his tournament life.
My first all-in.
Unfortunately, could also be his last. What do you think, James? Heads or tails?
Heads.
You're right so far.
Oh, it's tails.
Oh, tails.
Heads could regain the advantage, though, with a queen on the river. Not to be. Tobias Reinkemeyer will collect 8,000 euros for his 113th place finish. His chips will go across to Denis Larin.
Yes. Sure. All right.
Let's get back to our feature table. We find Juan Pastor clinging on with 4 big blinds.
JMP, don't do it to me.
Actions on Ronald Lee. Here's ace-deuce of diamonds. He decides to pass. 5-6 suited for Kursovic. Goes in the muck. And JMP's going to shove blind.
I didn't see my cards. Because if I see my cards, I fall. Then I went all in. Blind all in.
Oh, Vanessa Selps is going to look him up with 8s, that's for sure.
I'm all in.
Seems like a no-brainer against a guy who hasn't seen his cards yet.
Reshove gets the big blind out of the way. And Juan Pastor has overcards. It is a flip.
It's a flip, but this will barely take a dent out of Selps' stack.
Jack, 9, 8.
I'll take it.
Sickness.
No. Jack, 9.
King is good, yeah. Queen, 10.
Well, the flop is Jack 10 deuce.
Colossal mistake.
JMP jumps way out in front.
There you go.
If he wins this pot, he'll go from being a ridiculously short stack to a super short stack.
To a regular short stack, yes. All right, well, this pot's worth about 10 big blinds. Let's move it along.
Vanessa needs an 8 on the river, but doesn't get it.
Other than English only at the table, please, I wonder what Vanessa Selps is thinking right now.
I started playing poker in 2004. I had some early tournament success. After that, I played for a year and didn't do so well, so I took 2 years off. But since coming back, I've won the NAPT Mohegan Sun in 2010 and 2011. It was really cool to win back-to-back NAPT titles. It's an incredible feeling that everybody always wants when they go back to a tournament they've won, and I was just fortunate enough to have that success. Having the confidence in yourself that comes from the success really makes momentum an important factor. Hopefully I can become the first 2-time EPT champion as well, although I guess I have to win my first one. My game is so much based on really reading what my opponents are thinking. Since I'm making moves all the time, it really has little to do with my cards. I think it's important to have a table presence. If there's a spot that comes up where I might make a play, I take 5 or 10 seconds, and showing that determination, and showing that intense focus, I think puts people on edge. Combine that with my reputation, I think makes people nervous. Ultimately, I think makes them play a lot worse against me. I go into tournaments and winning is the #1 thing on my mind. I mean, you can see it through my results. I don't really min cash. Actually, it was funny because my last EPT in San Remo was my first min cash of my career. I'm always on the prowl for the win, and I would love to get it here.
Vanessa Selps is my hands-down pick to be the first to win 2 EPT titles, even though she doesn't even have one yet.
I'll take your bet, Joe, but you're going to have to take 50-1 on. Well, Vanessa is the 4th biggest stack in the room right now. You'll see that Xavier Carucci has lost the tournament chip lead. That honor currently belongs to Victor Randall.
Victor's had a pretty hot year. He made back-to-back final tables at NEPT Los Angeles, including a win in the main event there.
Another player on a good run right now is Andre Akari, winning his first World Series bracelet this summer. Matty de Mulder finished 37th in this tournament last year, looking for a better score in 2011. And Boris Becker's still smiling, having locked up his first EPT cash.
Oh good, I heard he really needs the money.
The last remaining previous EPT winner in the field has just been eliminated in 111th place. We say goodbye to Jan Scamper, but we've still got Filippo Candio, 4th place finisher in last year's World Series of Poker main event. Well, there's Ronald Lee. He came 3rd in the World Series of Poker Europe last year. He's just been knocked out from our feature table. Action folded to Juan Manuel Pastor. Disgusted to see an ace-3. Vanessa delighted to see kings.
She looks delighted.
Queen-king on the button for Dobromir Nikov.
Last time the situation arose, Nikov did not 3-bet Vanessa in position. He had her dominated with ace-queen. Now she's got a monster.
Come on.
And he shoves. This poor guy has not put a foot right all day. Juan is on. Gives up the small blind. And Juan Corneo folds the big blind.
Call.
Vanessa understandably calls with kings.
Snap call. Oh, Nikov, you are going to have to get very, very lucky. You can see that red exclamation point indicating danger.
The flop is 8-3 jack with 2 spades.
Well, he's not dead yet. He can hit runner, runner, spades, or straight cards.
Ace of hearts on the turn.
He needs a 10. Nikov fantasizing about Bo Derek for probably not the first time in his life.
But it's a jack. Nikov eliminated. More chips for Vanessa Selbst. She will add 107,500 to her stack.
She's just poning souls at the feature table.
And if we look at the last 51 hands that Vanessa has been dealt at the feature table, we can see she's played 19 of them.
That's a VPIP of 37%. Now, I'm always yammering on about Vanessa's aggression and her wide button range. She's played 5 of 8 hands from the button with anything from ace high to 7 high. And in case you need a lesson on the power of position, green indicates wins, red indicates losses. She's won 80% of those hands.
In summary, she's a bit good. Boris Becker is all in for his last 30,500. He's been called by Benjamin Juhas.
We'll see what they got.
Boris with king 4 of hearts, Juhas with 6s.
Poor B-Bex isn't even racing.
Good luck.
The flop has a 6 on it.
Pretty good flop for 2 6s.
4 of hearts, 5 of hearts.
Boris has actually got 2 backdoor draws.
Heart on the turn.
Now we've got ourselves a sweat, something Boris knows about.
But the river's a club.
Good luck, huh? Nice.
Boris Becker is eliminated.
Boris Becker in his first EPT cash. Congratulations, now you're a winner at everything.
He'll collect 8,000 euros from the cage.
Well, this kid's gonna wake up tomorrow with a tennis racket in his bed.
It's my first cash in the main event at EPT. Great, it was a struggle and I was short stacked all day. I had to wait for the right moment, to double up. I had that once and now I was just surviving, and then pocket 6 were too strong for my king.
We've got another all-in. The emotional Italian Filippo Candio is shoved with kings. Raul Mestre has called with ace-9. So far, so good for Candio. Doesn't want to look. And that's why he doesn't want to look. An ace on the turn.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh. That's terrible.
He's not singing anymore. And Mestre is disgusted to have won that hand.
Candio's taking it like a champ. Don't rub it. And I give Mestre a 5 out of 5 on the suck out and a 5 out of 5 on showing the appropriate amount of embarrassment. Perfectly played all around. Kings had absolutely no shot.
2 new players have come to our feature table. We've got a big stack in the shape of Andreas Samuelsson in the 1 seat. And another Spanish player, Javier Contreras. He'll be in the small blind on this hand. Action right now is on Samuelson, who has 9-5 off. He'll muck. Vadim Kurcevic, 10-3, he'll fold. With his 4 big blind stack, Juan Manuel Pastor will pass the 5 deuce. Vanessa Selbst has King Jack on the button, and she is raising. And min raised to 12K. Javier Contreras is King 10 suited.
Boy, even though it's a scary proposition to let the action get back around to her, and we know he's dominated, I kind of feel like you have to 3-bet a button raise from Vanessa.
He does. 32,000 he makes it.
Especially with suited Broadway cards, you just gotta.
The big blind folds. And Vanessa will eye his stack.
Oh God, she wants to know how much I have. Gulp. Please don't 4-bet, please don't 4-bet.
She's going to make the call and play the flop in position.
Vanessa's got position, and she's got him dominated, though he does have the betting lead for now.
The flop is ace, jack, 7.
Vanessa flops second pair of the jack again. Contreras only with a king high and a gut shot.
He will continue for 42,000.
He's pretty much forced to continue against Vanessa's range. Vanessa did not back down in a similar spot before.
Considering her options. And she elects to call.
Probably not what he wanted to see with king high.
3 of hearts on the turn. Contreras picks up a flush draw.
Still got that gut shot draw as well.
Now this time he's checked.
So he's given up the betting lead.
Vanessa checks behind.
All right, well, he's going to get a free card.
It's a heart.
Ding.
Contreras with the nut flush. Don't think he'll be too worried about that paired board.
Interesting game they just played there. Contreras immediately reached for chips, and Vanessa did the same.
He bets 83,000.
I will admit that Contreras has taken a pretty interesting line, but I don't really see him ever bluffing in this spot.
Does Vanessa make the call?
All in.
She shoves instead. And Contreras calls.
Nice call. You got it. A jack. Oh no. Good flush?
Yeah.
I don't think Vanessa thought Contreras was bluffing, but she just didn't think he was as strong as he was. Now's when I'm supposed to give a cautionary tale about a style like Vanessa. She was trying to bluff him off an ace, obviously.
She's just lost more than half her stack. And Javier Contreras now has the table chip lead. It's 692,000.
And he can barely contain his joy. Savor it, buddy. Savor it.
Thought I had the king of hearts. Back to the drawing board. Sucks when you have the hand that I'm trying to represent.
Well, technically it only sucks for one of you.
Sick.
Welcome back to the PokerStars.com EPT Barcelona. Before the break, Vanessa Selbst lost more than half her stack to Javier Contreras, courtesy of a debatable move. What do her fellow pros have to say about
it? Vanessa held king jack off and was ahead in this pot after her jack hit on the flop. But with runner hearts, Contreras made his flush. The young Spaniard made a less than pot size bet, but
All in.
Selbst then decided to try to rep the same hand with a shove.
I think I would not raise very often in that hand. I would probably call or fold.
The heart doesn't really factor into my thinking very much. The opponent re-raised me before the flop. You know, he might have some sort of suited funky hand like 8-9 of hearts. There's a lot of stuff you can't beat and very little you can beat, so I think you have to fold there.
Gotta say I probably call. because the pot was kind of big. I have a value hand, Contreras. I know him, he's from Spain, so he knows how to move. I think the shove is kind of too aggressive for me at this point.
I don't mind shoving as a bluff, but if I'm Vanessa, I probably don't, just because people think that she's crazy. I would have folded pre-flop, probably, with King Jack.
Back to the drawing board. Sucks when you have the hand that I'm trying to represent. So sick.
I know for a fact Jason wouldn't have folded that hand pre-flop. He just would have found a way to win.
Juan Manuel Pastor is all in for his last 6 big blinds, but his 4s have run into the kings of Hakel Vidal.
Fellow Spaniards, so Spain, I've got good news and I've got bad news.
Pastor 4-1 underdog and no 4 on the flop.
King's looking good so far.
Juan Manuel now a 9-1 underdog.
Come on, JMP, pull it out.
Well, that gives him additional outs.
That's right, he does pick up a sweat on the turn, which is appropriate because it's at least 100 degrees outside.
The King's hold, and Juan Manuel Pastor will go out in 86th place, which is an achievement when you consider he had 6 big blinds with 121 players remaining.
Juan, adios.
Hakel Vidal gets a little bit of wiggle room, but he's still pretty short. On the outer tables, there's another all-in. Mateus de Mulder was hoping to finish better than 37th this year, but he's all in with 7s and has run into the jacks of Andre Akari.
Matty is a 4-1 dog here.
Must be nice to run good, damn it.
Oh! Speaking of run good.
Just no sweat, get it over with on the turn. 3 of whatever. Now blank, blank.
De Mulder's flopped a quarter of the remaining deck as outs.
Boom! No. Okay. 7, 8. I'll buy you cookies.
Oh! He gets there.
Bing! Where do you live? Where do you live? In Brazil? They heard that Sao Paulo, I think. In Rio de Janeiro.
Seriously, never welch on a cookie bet.
Big pot here between Mario Adinolfi and Jose Esteban. Adinolfi's bet 50,000 on the river. There's 3 spades on the board. There's a potential straight out there. The board is paired.
That means there could be quads or a full house.
Solid analysis from Stapleton. A fold from Esteban. And Adinolfi shows a bluff.
No, I'm guessing Esteban had 10 high beat. Maybe not, though. Adinolfi is a journalist in his day job, which he should keep. That's why I'm sure he's giving most of the poker media here plenty to write about.
Back at our feature table, blind still 3,000, 6,000 with a 500 ante. Actions on Javier Contreras. Looking down at 8-9 under the gun, he'll fold. Juan is on his ace-jack suited.
Should be good enough for a raise.
I think he's figuring out the size of that raise. He decides to make it 15,000.
2.5x, as they say.
So folded around to Andreas Samuelsson. He has the button, but he only has 7-4 off. He'll muck.
See ya.
Kurzovic. King 6 in the small blind. Passes. And Vanessa Salps in the big blind has ace-king.
Aggressive Vanessa again has a legit hand, but the table perception may be that she's steaming. She could possibly use this to her advantage.
Looks like she's counting out chips for a re-raise. It is a 3-bet to 44,000.
My guess is she probably wouldn't mind a 4-bet get it in here with Azan.
He has position on Vanessa, and he will make the call and see a flop.
Vanessa does have him dominated.
There's a jack on the flop, and Azon takes the lead.
Not good for Vanessa.
Will she continue? No, she checks. 94,500 in the middle.
It's a fairly wet board. Azon would do well to bet here.
He does, makes it 50,000.
Vanessa's eyeballing Azon's stack. If she decides to play back, I don't think it'll end well, because I don't know if anyone should ever get away from ace-jack in this spot against her.
She shoved.
Probably better than just calling, but I fear she's going to be looked up.
Azon makes the call, and she knows she's beat. And she only has 2 outs.
Jacks. I don't have anything.
Vanessa punts her stack, and now she's kicking herself.
At one point, she was running all over this table. Where did it all go wrong?
Vanessa mentioned how she rarely min cashes. This is one step above that, but still, she'd be very disappointed to go out here.
Well, she's picked up additional outs on the turn. Vanessa now with a flush draw. Any king, any spade would save her tournament life. Here comes the river card. It's the 7 of clubs. So Vanessa Selbst finishes in 84th place here at EPT Barcelona, earning herself 10,000 euros.
Vanessa mustered a meek little good game there.
One is on now up to 442,000.
Vanessa telling her tale to tournament director Toby Stone. And this donkey over here, he had his jack. I want to know where his car's parked. Toby's saying, Vanessa, come with me. I'll buy you a cocoa.
We're now midway through day 3. And look at the leaderboard. 3 Spanish players at the top. Tomeo Gamilla, Raul Mestre, and Javier Contreras all have more than 600,000. So a shock exit for Vanessa. Let's hear from her.
I had like loads of chips. About 30 minutes ago, I ran a huge bluff on the river and ran into the hand that I was trying to represent. He had the nut flush, so that got me down, and then ace-king against ace-jack, and he flopped a jack, and I just went with it, and you know, it happens.
So next time, 83 will play down to 24 and get one step closer to making Hold'em history. Top Brazilian pro Andre Akari has high hopes.
To win the EPT would be amazing, not just for me, but for Brazilian people, would be great.
Looking for redemption is fellow team pro Mati de Mulder.
Last year I finished about 36th or 38th. It's just one way to the final table.
Amateur Max Martinez is a loose cannon who fears no one.
I'm not intimidated by anything or anyone because it's a game.
Pros and amateurs clash in the race to the final table.